Hi, Joe Cerrone.
Yeah, Rosen.
We're going to go through Project 3-1. Project 3-1 is in our main splash page, Chapter 2 and 3, Project 3-1. So if you click here, it will give you the instructions. Draw the floor plan in lecture room as shown. Use the dimensions shown. Use architectural scale to measure the floor plan and draw it to scale. Well, they kind of give you the dimensions. And so one of the things they talk about is being able to use rulers. But essentially, if we come down here to this, we have the measurements. So we're going to start a new drawing, and we're going to create these measurements on it. Now, should we use the template or should we start from scratch?
Use template, please.
So we'll switch back over here. We'll click on the B-size arc paper. It'll download the drawing template. We'll open that. I'm just panning it so that it's in the center by pushing the middle wheel on the mouse. You can double click that wheel. We're going to draw these in model space. And so this is paper space. So we're going to click on the model tab. And then we're going to go ahead and draw this. We'll use layer wall. And then we'll look at our measurements. So it's 16 feet, 1 inch. I don't know why they did this 1 inch. It kind of makes it harder. By 18 feet, 10 inches. So we're going to make a 16 foot, 1 inch by 18 feet, 10 inch. Well, in order to do that, our snap should be set up at 1 inch so that it works. And so I'm going to go and do that. Tools, drafting settings. It's all almost set. That's 1 foot. So 1 inch will have 2 little things on it. And we'll leave the grid set at 1 foot. We'll say okay. And then we'll start to draw this. Now our measurements again were 16 feet, 1 inch. And so if we go line command, I'm going to turn on my line weights. And just anywhere you can kind of come in here. Is my snap on? I think it is. 16 feet, 1 inch. And then we'll go north on that. And our measurement was 18 feet, 10 inches. (16 feet, 1 inch). See, now I need less coffee. And hit escape. So the grid's a bit bigger than it needs to be in this one, probably because we're making bigger shapes and things like that. At this time, it's not a big deal. We're just going to leave it alone. And then as we look at this, we can use the offset command to offset the wall thickness. And the wall thickness is 5 inches. And so if we come back here to our drawing, we can say offset, specify the distance, 5, enter. Now, technically it should be inches, but the default is inches. And so you don't have to put inches, but if it were 5 feet, you'd have to put the apostrophe because 5 feet is much bigger than 5 inches. So you can just have it as 5, and then you select the line, and then go to the inside or to the outside. We're going to go to the inside.
Right.
Like that. And then to trim these, you can say trim, enter, and then click on the parts you want to get rid of. Sometimes the navigation aids get in the way. And then enter. So that's the perimeter of the room. If we want to put a dimension on it to check it, we can go to a different layer. I'm just going to go with this green dimension layer, and I'm going to put on a linear dimension. And we can see that that's 16 feet 1 inches, linear. Notice that I have O snaps, and the O snaps will grab, and you want to grab the end of the blue line, not the end of the dimension, by 18 feet 10 inches. So we're on track. If I turn off my grid, it's a little easier to see. Here's my grid button, turn it back on, go back to my exercise. And then as we look at some of these other shapes, we're going to locate a door opening 6 inches and then 3 feet. So again, we can just offset 6 inches, offset 6, enter. And then we'll repeat the offset command, and we'll go with 3 feet, 3 apostrophe.
You get the wrong thing, Joe. You get the wrong thing.
What do you mean, Al?
Which
Did
way
I put it in the wrong spot?
Yeah, go back. See, it has to be offset 6 inches from the inside wall in. You went from the outside wall in.
Okay, I'll fix it.
No problem. It's easy.
So essentially, just redo it. So it wants 6 inches from the inside wall.
That is correct.
Offset 6, inside wall, offset 36, enter. Select the line and the side. And then we'll just drag these through. They have to cross in order for us to trim. So if we want to trim out this line, it has to touch it. Trim, enter, and then just cut everything away. Okay, so the door swing, we'll do a part 2 video. Let's do the furniture. We can work on some of these things, but essentially this is the main floor plan elements. And then a lot of these are just trim and offset commands. So we can offset 2 feet 4 inches up, and then we can offset 6 feet 7.5. Not real happy that they chose such hard numbers to work with. I prefer just 2 feet, but we'll make it work. So we'll say offset 2 feet 4, enter. And then we'll say this offset, do it again, 2 feet 4, enter. Select the object to offset, and then the side, either up or down. And then we'll do it again, 6 feet 7 inches. Enter, enter. It brings back the last command. 6 apostrophe dash. I don't need the dash. 6 apostrophe 7 dash 1 divided by 2. And that's the hardest part about putting in these coordinates. And that's going to go from the inside wall edge to here. And then we're going to offset 2 feet and 1 foot 8 inches. And so as we're looking at this, here's the measurements. I offset 2 feet 4 inches. That got this line here. And then I offset 6 feet 7 inches. That got that line there. And then I'm going to offset 2 feet and 1 foot 8. Offset 2 feet, enter. 2 feet. And then we're going to go 1 foot 8 inches. 1 foot 8. Enter. Trim. Enter. Click on everything you want to get rid of.
You can also cross them too, or window them.
Yeah, much faster. And so as we start to create this geometry, a lot of it's just the placement of it. And so it gets into these chairs, and somewhere in here, there's some geometry that shows you how to draw the chair, I hope.
It's right there in front of you. Right there.
It's right here, right?
And also, by the way, you want to save this every so often. Why, you ask? ComEd, you know, we never have blackouts, we never lose power, etc. like that. So you're working on a drawing maybe an hour and a half, you didn't save it, and power goes out and you lose the whole thing. It's kind of hard, and you have to go back instead of leaving early or finishing on time. You have to finish that drawing or drawings that you were doing. So we click on the name, put the initials onto it, whatever else, click on that, click on this file folder you want it in there, hit save. And every so often you save it, hit the button, and it saves it at that certain time period.
So we'll save this as project or chapter 3-1 with your initials, and we'll save it. Great idea, Al. And then I'll draw the last shape, and I'm just going to kind of crank through it really quick and end the video, and then we'll go and we'll ask anybody who has any questions.
And we're going to draw it outside the room itself, by the way.
So we're going to draw the chair, and the chair is 1 foot 8 inches by 1 foot 8 inches. And so I'm just going to draw it anywhere. Okay, I'm going to just say draw it off to the side. And so I'll come over here. It's not a bad idea to use a furniture layer if we have one. Here we go. I'm going to make the furniture color different by clicking here, and we'll make our furniture like that.
Okay.
And then we'll draw this line. We can just draw it kind of right in the middle of it like they did. 1 foot 8 inches. And then I'll go up 1 foot 8 inches. It's easier if you just zoom in. So sometimes when people are like this, I'm like, no, no, no. Get closer so you don't need to get glasses. So that's our 1 foot 8 inch by 1 foot 8 inch. And then it's got to have an arc that kind of goes all the way across. So if it's 1 foot 8 inches, we're talking about 10 inches for each radius. So we can do a fillet with a 10-inch radius on each side. Fillet, down arrow, radius, 10. And that's our chair. And then when we look at the rest of the exercise, it's really just a matter of understanding how to place the furniture in the room. So the way they have this set up is they say, put the first chair 6 inches away from the wall and 3 feet 8 inches away from the wall. So I like to use offset for that. And so I'll offset this line 6 inches, and I'll offset this line 3 feet 8 inches. Offset, 6, select the line and the side. Repeat the offset, 3'8", enter. So that's the corner that marks the location of this corner here. It's actually to the back of it in this one. So I'm not 100% if I can get this the way I want it. So I'm going to move it and see. And so I'm going to say move it from here to, yeah, it kind of works. If you use the grid, it will. Now you can see an O-snap is going to move it. See how this O-snap is going to bring it here? So I'm going to turn off the O-snap, and I'll put it right here. There we go.
I'll go back to the drawing for a minute, please.
Yes.
PDF.
Yes. Is that what you want?
Yeah. They don't give you the exact dimension of how far down has to be gone down.
Yeah, they're not giving all the spacing. So let's just make it look relatively nice. To
Oh,
make them 5 inches apart, you can just do a line and an offset. You can just copy and count 5 squares. I think that's what we'll do.
I see what they did, Joe. If you go back to your drawing for a minute, please,
Sure.
and zoom in on top there. You want to go offset one more time, please, and put down 1 foot 8 inches, please, and take that 6 inch line. You offset it and bring it down, up, up, yep, up and down, and that's your intersection line for the corner.
Right. And it's not too bad if you just use grid and snap and you turn off O snap, because watch how I copy these. So I'll copy this chair and I'll just make sure I only get the chair. I'll hit enter. And then it needs to be 5 inches apart. And so maybe it would have been easier to just come in here and go 5, but then it'll be off. And so they've made this really tough. So we'll go from here. If we go here and then we count 5 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. And then we can go here. And we can go here. I think I have too many chairs. So the last one doesn't need to be done, so I'll erase it. And then to get the other chairs, I'm gonna get rid of these construction lines. And we're really not that picky in the beginning of the class to make it super perfect. So if they're not exactly perfect, nobody's gonna come in there and say, oh, this is the interior design police, but we will tell you how to do it and work on it. You may lose a little bit, but you won't lose to the point where you're not passing. Or, I mean, Al's and I's philosophy is that you should be able to get a B just by going ahead and showing up and doing the work. And I'll make a copy of this. I'm just gonna kind of take a look at how I would say my room should be. And I'll set this up so I have about 2 grid squares between each one.
I didn't understand that.
My phone is talking to me. All right. Okay, so that is how this exercise lays out. We haven't taught you how to dimension, so they're not really asking you to do the dimensioning, but if you do understand it and want to add the dimensions, you can. For now, I'm just going to leave the overall measurements. The other dimensions you can add yourself. I'm going to put it on the title block by clicking on the floor plan tab, double clicking in the viewport, and then doing a zoom all. View, zoom, all. And then I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to dial in the scale here at, let's go with 1 inch equals a foot. Too big. Let's go with 1 less than that then. Not, let's go with half. Quarter scale seems to work. So we dial in the scale, double click outside of the viewport, and then put your name on it. And so here's where your name's going to go. Click off of it. Put the date on today. The scale I set is, what was it?
1/4 inch equals 1 foot.
And you just click off of it. You could call it project 3-1.
And then on the left-hand side, please, Joe. Zoom up until this is 1/8 of an inch. and you're set.
Right. So we'll save this as exercise 3-1. And that completes this recording.